What's up, boss fam? This is your boy Dun Beezy, and I know it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step to. And we're back here today to talk some more style skating history. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the JB style. Well, let's get into it. I meant to do this video a little while ago, but I got busy getting my first roller skating course out. How to toe manual like a boss. The course that will take you from Bambi to pro skating on your toes. And it will even teach you those mythical basics to help you avoid falling while you're learning how to do the toe manual like a boss. And get you ready for advanced tricks like the toe spin in the grapevine. I guarantee it.
I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning. The numbers don't lie.
JB comes out of Chicago and it stands for James Brown. The reason why they call it James Brown skating is because JB skaters skate to their own homegrown style of music that's based off of James Brown tracks. They have their own original beats, and then they take different James Brown samples and they lace them over the track into an extremely unique experience. JB is one of those styles that you have to go to Chicago to learn, or you have to talk to a person who actually practices JB.
Step 1. Watch online videos and visit your local rink to watch JB skaters in action.
You cannot truly learn a dance style off the internet. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people just got very disappointed. Unless you can actually see the people and really suck in their culture and their bounce, you will never have it. In order to get a better knowledge of the history of JB, I spoke to Reggie Brown. Yes, that Reggie. Whoa. Oh. He was one of the people featured on the United Skates documentary, and I learned a whole lot about JB. I asked Reggie who were some of the notable people in the JB style, and what he said shocked me. There are 3 schools: the old school, the middle school, and the new school. The people in the old school created the foundation. The people in the middle school learned from the old school and they added parts to their foundation. And the people in the new school learned from the people in the old school and the middle school, and now they're taking it to another level. Brian Savage, one of the new members of the JBX, speaks about the 3 eras of JB during his chapter in The Evolution of Skating by Amira Palmer. In his chapter, he offers an interesting perspective. Although these 3 eras of skaters come from the same style, there are fundamental differences in the way that these skaters skate. In my opinion, there are 3 categories of JB skating: old school, middle school, and new school. All 3 categories may represent the same style of skating, but each one has its own groove. The old school skaters are highly respected for their knowledge and experience on the floor, continuing their era of skating with smooth footwork and the fundamentals of JB. The middle school skaters incorporate the old school smooth footwork with some of the new school moves as well. They can learn from both generations, younger or older, and make it look amazing. The new school skaters incorporate flashy footwork with some of the fundamentals while skating at a much faster pace. Although these 3 categories may be different in their ways, they all represent a one-of-a-kind style, which is JB. JB is not just a skate style, it's a lifestyle, something that you live, love, and pass down. Additionally, there are no JB skaters or contributors who are more important than the last. However, there are some JB skaters who help lay the foundation. Some notable old school JB skaters are Poochie, Casper, Kiki, Too Smooth, Gary and Terry Twin, Michelle and Maurice Ice Cold Pepper, and Big John. I also gotta give a big shout out to D Breeze, the president of the JB Elite, one of the premier JB crews, because the members of the JB Elite, in addition to being extremely strong skaters, are also some of the history makers in the style skating community. D Breeze. It's young D Breeze. Bro, look at them pants. Additionally, he's the founder of IR, Independence World, one of the biggest skate parties in the world to this day. They just ran IR 10, where they just, hey. And D-Lo, the president of the JBX.
Give it up for JBX!
Two skaters credited with taking JB to the national stage. Because as D Bree describes in the book, The Evolution of Skating, JB wasn't always nationally and internationally recognized. Back in the day, you might get 5 minutes of JB music at the end of a roller skating session. Now there are entire sessions dedicated to JB skating, and that is absolutely amazing. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And if you watch JB skaters, they have a very specific way that they do moves. It changes them slightly and it really gives them that smang. Like, this is control. You see every single pivot to the stop, and then like he hit it. That's it. In order to learn about the foundations of the JB technique, I watched a YouTube documentary piece entitled Dancing in Chicago, Roller Skating with James Brown's Style. The video featured Calvin Small, a JB legend. Calvin Small and his contemporaries are credited with creating the JB steps that would become modern JB skating.
Me and two other guys, we used to always skate together, and we started doing this little thing we used to call steps.
Okay, Grandma. Some of these moves are the Stan the Man. It was a dude named Stan, and it was a move that he used to do. And the Stan the Man starts off many JB combos even today. Another move that they had was the Gangster Walk. It was a cooler, smoother move. And then another extremely foundational move was the Bucket Walk, or as they called it in the past, the Monkey Walk. And finally, he spoke about the Big Wheel. The Big Wheel is a large dip lunge move. It is actually pretty popular. You can find tutorials on the internet from the Big Wheel, and it's extremely easy to see. And I know you're probably asking, hey yo, Dabizi, why don't you shout out some JB skaters you're watching right now? You're gonna have to wait for the JB bingo book for that. I'm sorry. Reggie also told me a little bit about the history of JB. He said that the roots of JB go back to the Savoy Ballroom in the Lindy Hop era. Bruh, the Lindy Hop was popular in the late 1930s and early 1940s. That means there's 10, 20, 70, 80 years of JB, probably a little bit more. He told me that the skate guards at the Savoy were some of the best roller skaters in the world. And people would come through dressed nice and they would skate even nicer. This place laid the roots for what would become JB music. Anyway, Reggie went on to say some other things that I want to quote him directly on because I can't lie. It's a little spicy. But I think it's a really valid point, and I want to take a second to discuss it now and then bring it back at the end of the video. I quote, JB is unequivocally the most unique and original skate style in the world.
What did you say?
JB is the only fully self-sustaining skate style. We create our own music, meaning we don't need to use or skate to other genres of music because we have created our own genre of music, sample based and original. We have our own unique skates, setup, movement, and terminology. JB skaters are few in numbers, but we are very high in quality.
What did you say?
I want to bring that back a little bit later. He ain't lying, but I want to discuss it historically. After I spoke to Reggie, I spoke to G Slater. He's one of the members of the JBX, and he told me a little bit about JB Crews. Slater told me that the crews were more popular in the past. However, they're still a big part of the culture. Fun fact, I used to think that the ad-libs in the songs were ad-libs, or they were like real things. For example, JB Bootcamp is an actual JB Crew. But in the song where he goes, JB Bootcamp, I used to think that it was a place where people would go. Like, oh my God, they are so serious about JB that they made a boot camp style JB training facility? That's wild. In the JBX, the crew that he's a part of, JB Experience, I was like, bro, this is the JB Experience. And then another thing that I used to hear, JB Legacy. I was like, bruh, you are listening and watching the literal JB. They're all crews. These are all crews. Here are some notable JB crews. The JB Elite, JBX, Shy Force, JB Bootcamp, QB Hot, the Suicide Kings, IJB, Dream Girls, Showstoppers, and Chicago's Most Wanted. So let's take another look at the comments that Reggie made a little bit earlier. JB is the most unique skate style. And for evidence, he broke down the music, the history, the skate setup, and the terminology. Let's start off with the music. You can't say that any other style has created their own form of music that is putting on the level that JB is, and that is as unique as JB is. Because at the end of the day, although African Americans influence and create a lot of music, most of it generally, a lot of times people take it and then they'll sell that music to a corporation, and now that corporation is funding the music, and now that corporation is pumping it out. Now that corporation is saying what gets played and what doesn't get played. JB set up their own music culture. So that's one for JB. Next thing he says is the skate setup. Yo, JB does have some unique skate setups, and you'll see people, they'll get classic boots. JB skaters will go back and grab a pair of hides and put them together. However,
skaters in LA, we took the custom skate game to a whole new level. In LA, foot game is imperial.
You cannot lie. Cali dudes, they on a completely different level when it comes to customization and skate setups, because they go through so many different unique phases and they really make it happen. So even though JB's up 1, I'm gonna put JB down to 0. Next thing that he talks about is the skate terminology. And the thing about skate terminology is, let's say that JB has the most specific, the most detailed skate terminology of all of the styles. I would still argue that if you go to Detroit and up top and down to Atlanta and really to a lot of these different places, they have their own documented terminology as well. And they have their own documented skate moves as well. Even if it all aren't as developed as JB, even if JB can defeat, let's give JB 60%. Say JB gonna Thanos 60%. It's competing evenly with a couple styles. And because of that, you can't really unequivocally give it that unique tag. So I'm gonna keep the score at 0 for that. And then finally, the history. The thing about JB and the thing about JB history, especially if it's going back into the Lindy Hop era, it does have a more defined history than the up top style. Because let's say we draw a line for the up top style, the New York style, the jamming technique. We started when Bill Butler arrives at Empire in 1957. If you listen to the tapes and you read about him and you read about his development, you'll hear that he skated for years in his house before taking the style out. and he was also a freestyle skater back in the day. He used to do the Russian splits and stuff. So he had been skating, he had been specifically developing, and he had been working on it. And if he's going to be going to a roller skating rink and starting nights, he has to be a grown man. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something that children do. But still, JB would preclude that. So let's give JB a 1 on the history. One aspect of roller skating or the styles that gets really overlooked is the creation of infrastructure and different materials as well as teaching materials. Although there are some documentaries, although there are some articles, although there is some things written about the styles, for the most part it's an oral and a physical tradition. It's passed down through the generations. And I believe that because the jamming technique has been recorded in a book, because it's a trademark and it's been written down in history, that is a point that we have to bring up in the uniqueness conversations. Because name another technique that has a book. Name another technique with different things that have been trademarked like that. In addition to the existence of the materials already, I think that is something that really has to be considered in the uniqueness category. So if you've been keeping score, that brings us down to a 0-0. I'm not saying that people aren't going to be developing something in the future. I'm just saying that if you break it down and we talk through a couple of points, you can make an argument, but JB versus Up Top. Comment your favorite down below. What did he say?
That's all, folks.